What's up guys, James here, and welcome back to another video on the channel. I know I haven't uploaded in a while, so sorry about that. Today's episode is a follow-up to my popular video, Why I Don't Like KonekoKitten. And yes, I finally learned how to pronounce his name correctly. So basically, I'll be starting off with some context, as well as addressing some different topics which I've been meaning to talk about. There will be timestamps, so if there's anything in particular you'd like to hear about or hear my thoughts on, you can skip to those sections of the video if you want to. So almost a year ago now, in May of 2021, I created a video titled, Why I Don't Like KonekoKitten. That was basically me pointing out flaws that I thought his channel had at the time. It's actually gotten quite a bit of attention compared to the rest of my channel, which I did expect, and it's what I like to call one of my active videos. That basically means that even though I made the video a while ago, it's receiving a steady stream of attention. Now that is a really good thing. But I feel that when a video is still active after a certain amount of time, my present opinions have changed, so people watching those videos end up getting a bit of an outdated idea of what my opinions are now. I made that video almost a year ago, so obviously what I said in it doesn't really reflect Koneko's present day content. I'd also like to reiterate some of the things that I said in the pinned comment of that video, which I've edited a couple times. The first is that my audio in that video was a bit distorted. It's perfectly watchable, but it's kind of noticeable. I had recorded my voice line too far away from my microphone, so while editing the video, I had to turn up the gain, which can make the audio a bit rough. So I'm sorry if it sounds a bit weird in certain parts of that video. The second thing I talked about in that pinned comment relates to something in the video that I'd like to dwell upon a bit here. Now here's where it gets a bit serious, so stick with me. One of my flaws I pointed out with Koneko's content at the time was that I found him to be pretty condescending. The example I used for that was his video on N&A Productions. Now in the video Koneko made on N&A Productions, he criticized him for attempting to capitalize off of the death of popular YouTuber and streamer Etika shortly after he died. I mean no disrespect to Etika and may he rest in peace. I also severely condemn N&A Productions for what he did. But Koneko only mentioned N&A Productions' video on Etika in a very brief portion of his. The reason I criticized Koneko was because in the part of the video where he talked about Roblox videos that N&A Productions had made, he was almost acting like an authority on Roblox content, and being hypocritical, which I don't really agree with. I expanded upon most of this in the first video, so I'm not going to go into much more detail upon it here. So yeah, that was basically me clearing the air and adding some more context that didn't manage to make its way into the first video. I'd like to say that I have no hate towards Koneko in any way. I just think his content's pretty flawed. It goes without saying that he's probably a great guy in real life. And in fact, that probably applies to most YouTubers, including the ones I talk about. When I made that video, I was watching a decent amount of his uploads at the time, so I started to pick up on some of the things I brought up in the video. I don't plan on making a video criticizing him again, and that's also not what this video is intended for. It's just a follow-up to the first one. In fact, I don't really make videos talking about people much anymore. I used to consider my videos criticizing people or things in a rants series of mine, and as well as this, I had a series where I reviewed similar YouTubers around my channel size. Both of those series I've basically discontinued at this point for my own personal reasons. Those reasons are that I don't really find much joy anymore in making videos where I complain about other people. In fact, that's part of the reason why I try to distance myself from being a commentary channel. I'll most likely make another video talking about that in even more detail. Now sure, all my rants pull in the most views, and I could probably grow a lot off of them, but they don't really feel that great to make anymore. Also, one of the reasons I mentioned in the first video as to why I don't really like Koneko's content is because I think that he clickbaits. Now I understand how this can be a bit controversial, considering clickbait is pretty subjective. At its core though, clickbait is basically just using a title or thumbnail that gets people to click on the video. So unless you use extremely authentic titles and auto-generated thumbnails, every YouTuber basically clickbaits to some degree, some more than others, and some more successful than others. I'd like to consider myself at the low end of the spectrum. Now, Koneko's thumbnail style has changed quite a bit since I made that video, so I'm not sure how truthfully my reasoning in it reflects his modern content. But that being said, I will stand by my opinion that his content at the time was heavily clickbaited. It basically consisted of extremely ambiguous titles with lots of capital letters, and thumbnails of ambiguous and dramatic images with dramatic facial expressions. Now if that isn't clickbait, I don't know what is. Nowadays, he basically uses the exact same titles I criticized him for using in that video. Although his thumbnails have changed a lot, now he just uses a singular screenshot or image that is also extremely ambiguous. Now obviously just putting a single image as your thumbnail isn't clickbait, but what I'm saying is when you choose images that are ambiguous to the point where they basically force the viewer to click on the video to see what it means, I think that's clickbait, especially when a lot of the times the titles and thumbnails he uses are barely even related to what he's talking about in the actual video. So yeah, that's my follow-up to the KonekoKitten video I made on my channel almost a year ago now. I just thought I'd put this out here to revise more of my thoughts, expand upon, and clear up some things. The next video will probably be another episode of my Google Maps Anomalies series. If you enjoy those videos, stay tuned as I will not disappoint. I hope you guys have a good day, and I'll see you on the next one.